Hello loyal subjects, today we are here to talk about The Throne of Fire by Riordan. This is the second book in the Kane Chronicles trilogy, and oh my god, I loved it so much. If you do not know what the Kane Chronicles is about, it's basically this brother and sister duo named Carter and Sadie get into this whole Egyptian mythological world, and I've done a review for the first book, The Red Pyramid, where I go more in depth on the basic synopsis of the story, so check that out if you need convincing to read it. You should, because it's really good. So if you haven't read The Throne of Fire, then I would recommend you just go out and read it and then come back and we can talk about it. Okay? Okay, goodbye! Also, if you hear noises in the background, it's just my brothers playing video games. So, The Throne of Fire. In the last book, we left off with Carter and Sadie trying to start up this whole new branch of teaching magic through the path of the gods. And when we start this book, we see that kind of put into action. Now that there are more people at their kind of headquarters, it sort of feels a bit more like Camp Half-Blood, and it's good to know that we've got people who have their backs. We're also introduced to Walt. Now, Walt is kind of shrouded in mystery throughout most of the book, and we don't find out what is wrong with him until kind of towards the end, when we find out that he's dying of this curse put on his family because his ancestor was kind of a dick. I can't help but feel like we're trying to strike up the sympathy chord, and I do feel sorry for him, but there's not really much to him. He's kind of a boring character. Like, he's a nice guy and he's good at magic and I'm glad to have him around, but I don't know, he's just not doing anything for me. He's also playing into this sort of love triangle with Sadie, Anubis and Walt, and I'm not sure what I want to happen with that in the end. I mean, logically speaking, Walt is probably the better choice if he can stop dying, because Anubis is a god and she's just a kid. So, you know, hopefully that gets resolved in the last book. And as usual, our characters only have a few days to stop the end of the world. We're introduced to Apophis, who is kind of the main overarching antagonist of the story. Set is kind of like a minor villain now, and he's a lot more hilarious in that role than he was when he was the big baddie of the book. So Carter and Sadie devise this plan that in order to stop Apophis from swallowing the sun, they need to reawaken Ra, the original king of the Egyptian gods. The only problem is that Ra kind of went into retirement because he got old and weird. Along the way for this journey, we're introduced to Bess, who is this dwarf god, and I love him. He was so funny and just cool and there. Another thing I will say about this series, the gods are a lot more helpful than they are in the Percy Jackson series. Can I just say that? Like, yeah, they're still power-hungry dicks, but at least they're trying to help our heroes save the world. A part that thrilled and annoyed me at the same time was when Carter and Sadie split up to go look for their separate things. Sadie is going off to find the last piece of the Scroll of Ra, and Carter is going to save Zia. And I was looking forward to this because one of my main hopes for this book was that we would find Zia and we would wake her up. So we do that, and she doesn't remember everything that went down, and that was so... Why? Why did that have to happen? Poor Carter. He's put through the ringer so many times. Why can't he just have this one thing, huh? Why? And also, it kind of sucks that Zia has just been trapped in this endless nightmare for 3 months. I get that she's hesitant to re-enter the world, but it's just annoying. It's just annoying. Come on. Okay. So, in this book, we're introduced to this new villain who's the head of the Russian gnome of the House of Life, and his name is Vlad the Inhaler. When I read that, I burst out laughing so hard. Vlad the Inhaler. Rick, you're killing me here. I have to say that I really liked the climax for this story a lot more than the first one, because we're delving down into the duat and we're trying to raise Ra, we're trying to stop Apophis, we're trying to save the day, and we've got people tailing us, and oh my god, it was just so intense. We've got Carter being a boss, channeling this power, and he's rising up and becoming this giant. Desjardins shows up after being mind controlled by Vlad the Inhaler this entire book, and he helps out, so thank you. Thank you. I knew you'd come around eventually. I knew he would. And anyway, he's locking in Apophis, and then Sadie's using the spell to find the scarab beetle, and we have the beetle, and we're fighting Apophis, and I'm like, just get to the boat, give the beetle to Ra, please. So Desjardins manages to cast this spell to lock Apophis up in the duat for a bit longer. He dies. Yikes. And we give the beetle to Ra, and it does nothing. So we've got this resurrected sun god, but he's completely useless, but really amusing because he's this loony old man who has no idea what anything is. So that's a little concerning. Obviously all the other gods are a little bit pissed with Carter and Sadie right now, but hey, and oh my god, Bess, when he gave up his soul so that they could sail on, I was like, no, not Bess. Why did you have to take Bess? Why'd you have to take this thing from me? So hopefully we can save him too. It feels like this happens in every one of Rick's books, that we'll have some big thing that we need to stop. We manage to overcome that, fight so many battles, take on a lot of heavy losses, but it doesn't really do anything in the grand scheme of things. It's just like, oh hey, we did the thing, and now here's another problem that immediately crops up after it. So we've got a lot of questions left unanswered. We've got Walt, who is somehow hopefully going to be able to be healed from his ancient curse. We've got Zia, who Carter and everybody else keeps saying she has a part to play. We don't know what that is yet. Something to do with Ra. I'm hoping that Ra is going to be fully awakened and Carter isn't going to have to succumb to Horus and just like rise as a new pharaoh. Amos is now the chief lector, so that's a thing. And both of the Kane's love lives are kind of in shambles at the moment. So what is going to happen in the last book? How are we going to stop Apophis, save the world, all that jazz, and sort out everybody's personal problems at the same time? Oh man, this is just, wow, building up to something big, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So that is all I have to say for this video today. I will see you guys next time. Bye.